Hello everyone and welcome back to Hindi Learning Hub Official. In the previous video, we discussed the basic concept of teaching, its objectives and the different levels of teaching. In today's video, we are going to discuss another very important area of teaching aptitude, which is learners' characteristics. For effective teaching, it is not enough for a teacher to know the subject. A teacher must also understand who the learners are, what their needs are, how they learn, and how they differ from one another. So in this video, we will cover three important areas. First is characteristics of adolescent learners. Second is characteristics of adult learners. And third one is individual difference among learners. Let's understand each of these concepts in detail. Let's begin with adolescent learners. Adolescence is the stage between childhood and adulthood. It is the period of significant physical, psychological, emotional, and social development. Adolescent learners are not simply older children, they are going through a transition where they gradually develop greater independence, reasoning ability, self awareness, and a sense of identity. Therefore, teachers need to understand the special characteristics of the stage in order to create an effective learning environment. The first major characteristics is physical and biological development. During adolescence, learners experience rapid physical growth and hormonal changes. These changes can affect their energy levels, concentration, emotions, and even their confidence. Because every learner develops at a different pace, teachers should avoid comparing students based on physical development. A supportive classroom environment can help adolescents feel comfortable and confident during this period. The next important characteristic is cognitive development. As adolescents grow, their ability to think becomes more advanced. They gradually move beyond simple, concrete thinking and develop the ability to understand abstract concepts, logical relationships, hypothetical situations, and complex problems. They can also develop stronger critical thinking and problem solving abilities. Therefore, teaching adolescents should not be limited to memorization. Teachers should provide opportunities for discussion, questioning, reasoning, problem solving, projects, and critical analysis. Another important features of adolescence is emotional development. Adolescents may experience changes in mood and may become more self-conscious about themselves. Acceptance by teachers and peers can become very important to them. They are also developing their self-esteem and self-concept. Therefore, teachers should avoid unnecessary humiliation, harsh criticism, or negative comparisons. Instead, constructive feedback and encouragement can help adolescents develop confidence. Adolescence is also an important period of social development. Peer relationships become increasingly important, and adolescents often want to feel accepted by their group. At the same time, they begin seeking greater independence and autonomy. They also trying to understand an important question: who I am. This process is known as identity formation. Therefore, teachers should encourage healthy peer interactions, cooperations, participations, and respectful communication in the classroom. Now, let's move to the secondary category, that is adult learners. Adult learners are different from children and adolescents because they usually become to the learning environment with a considerable amount of life experience, prior knowledge, responsibilities, and specific goals. For adults, learning is often connected to their personal life, professional life, or immediate needs. So, understanding adult learners is extremely important for effective teaching. One major characteristic of adult learner is their tendency towards self-directed learning. Adults generally prefer to have some control over their learning process. They may want to understand what they are learning, why they are learning, and how they can apply it. Therefore, teachers can encourage adult learners to participate in decision making, independent study, discussions, projects, and self-assessments. The teacher's role becomes more of a facilitator and guide rather than simply a transmitter of information. Another important characteristics of prior experience. Adult learners bring their own experience, knowledge, beliefs, and skills into the classroom. These experiences can become valuable resources for learning. For example, instead of only explaining a concept theoretically, a teacher can ask adult learners to relate the concept to their own workplace or life experiences. This makes learning more meaningful and relevant. Adult learners are often goal oriented and relevance oriented. They are more likely to engage actively when they understand how the learning will help them to solve a real problem or achieve a particular goal. For example, an adult learner may study a computer course because they need the skill for employment. Therefore, adult education should focus on practical application, problem solving, and real life situations. The answer to the question, why do I need to learn this, is particularly important for adult learners. Adult learners can be motivated by both internal and external factors. External factors may include employment, promotion, qualification, or financial benefits. Internal factors may include personal growth, confidence, satisfaction, curiosity, or the desire to develop new skills. Therefore, effective teaching should connect learning with the learner's goals, interests, experiences, and practical needs. Now we come to the one of the most important concepts in learners' characteristics, individual differences. The basic idea is very simple. No two learners are exactly alike. Learners differ from one another in many ways, including their intelligence, aptitude, personality, interest, motivation, learning pace, prior knowledge, language, social background, and emotional development. Therefore, a single teaching method may not be equally effective for every learner. Let's look at some major areas of individual differences. Learners may differ in their intelligence and aptitude. They may have different interests and personalities. Their level of motivation may also vary. Some learners may understand a concept very quickly, while others may need more time and practice. Learners can also differ in their prior knowledge, language, cultural background, and their learning experiences. These differences influence how learners respond to the teaching. One important individual difference is learning pace. Some students may understand a topic after one explanation, while others may need examples, repetitions, practice, or additional support. This does not necessarily mean that one learner is intelligent and the other is not. It simply means that learners may learn at different rates and in different ways. Therefore, teachers should provide appropriate support and avoid labeling students based only on their speed of learning. So, what is the implication of individual difference for teaching? The teacher should adopt a learner-centered and flexible approach. Different instructional methods, examples, activities, and assessments strategies can be used according to the needs of learners. Teachers should also encourage participations and provide additional support where necessary. The goal is not to teach every learner in exactly the same way. The goal is to provide equal opportunities to learn while recognizing that the learners may have different needs and abilities. And with that, we have completed part 2 of teaching aptitude. Today we discussed the characteristics of adolescent learners, characteristics of adult learners, and individual difference among learners. In the next part, we are going to discuss another very important topic, factors affecting teaching. We will look at the different factors that influence the teaching, learning process, and understand how they affect effective teaching. So if you are preparing for UGC NET paper 1, make sure you don't miss part 3. Subscribe to Hindi Learning Hub official and stay tuned for next video. Happy learning.